Hello, it is Kitty Blue. Welcome to another weekly video. This is week 2, and what we're going to do today is do some comparison video. So this is going to be in between the Parabox big girls and the Dollmore big girls. So the Parabox dolls are 80 centimeters and 110 centimeters, and the Dollmore dolls, Lusion and Trinity, the Lusions are 79 centimeters and the Trinities are 105 centimeters. So we're going to compare all of those 4 dolls together in one video. It's going to be a very long video, so please bear with me, and I will go through measurements, a little bit of information about what will fit some of the dolls, and some comparisons at the very end of some other sizes so that you can kind of get a reference of how big these really are. So keep watching. So here are the 4 dolls that I'm going to be doing comparisons with from left to right. That is a Parabox 110 centimeter, what they call life-size doll. And then we have the Parabox Otohime, which is about 80 centimeters. Then we have the Dollmore Lusion, which is about 80 centimeters. And then we have the Dollmore Trinity, which is around 108 centimeters, I believe. I think the high-heeled ones, when they have the high-heel feet, they're 110 centimeters too. So right off, you can kind of tell the difference between the anime Parabox kind of style bodies and heads compared to the Dollmore. What I will be doing is I'm going to take all the clothes off and put the Dollmore ones on stands because they are quite heavy and I don't want them to fall. And we'll try the best to do a comparison of the 2 different sizes. There's some few things. I'm not going to do a video of undressing and then dressing them because that takes quite a while because they're so big and bulky. They can be a little difficult to dress, especially the Otohime, the outfit that she has on right now. The sleeves are very, very narrow, so I had to actually get a hair dryer and take her hands off in order to get that dress on. It's not a dress made for a Otohime doll. It is a dress that came off of, I want to say I don't think the dress came on a doll. I don't think I bought a doll with that dress on. I think I bought that dress because I thought it might fit her and I decided to buy it. I can't remember. It's been a while. But the, let's just see if we can get in here closer. So the outfit that the Lusion doll is wearing, which is this one right here. This is actually an outfit that I made for her. So that is something I made. The Dollmore over in the corner, which is the 108 centimeters. She is wearing a top that is, I believe, I want to say newborn or maybe 1 to 3 month old. And I don't know if it's a top. It might be like a onesie, but you just can't tell that it's a onesie. Yeah, it's actually a onesie, but I just have it tucked in, so you can't tell that it's a onesie. It just looks like a t-shirt. The same with the purple knit that she's wearing. It is also a child size or infant size. The skirt that she is wearing, I would have to check the size, but I actually altered that. These dolls, as you'll see when I undress them and show you the body comparisons, they are still dolls. They are not the size of children. They are the height of children, but they're still not the bulk and size of the children. They're still very slim and very doll-like. The tall Parabox doll, the 110 centimeters, she currently does not have eyes in, so ignore that. But she is also wearing a sweater that is probably infant or toddler. The t-shirt is also, I think, a toddler shirt. And the skirt is also a toddler skirt. but it has a drawstring in it, so I'm able to really pull it in so that it fits around her small waist. The shoes they have on are actually children's shoes, and I can check the size on that and add that into the video, or we'll talk about that when we get these gals undressed. So, for now, we're going to pause. I'm going to undress all the dolls, and I will put a warning right before that you will be seeing unclothed dolls. So probably not a good video to be watching at work. So stay tuned. Okay, the dolls are all unclothed, which probably took me a half an hour, but I do have them side by side standing on the table. What I'm going to do is cut this into two different parts. I'm going to compare the Trinity and Otohime, which are the two on the end, together in one part, and then the two smaller ones, the Lusion and the Otohime, in the second part. So just by looking at the screen right here, you can see that the life size Otohime, 110 centimeters. Obviously, since this one is like 105 centimeters, obviously there's 5 centimeters difference, so the Parabox is going to be bigger than the Trinity, Dollmore Trinity doll. You can tell that it's definitely much thicker and everything like that as well, but we'll get into more details when we do a side-by-side. And then the the two smaller ones, the Lusion, which is the one with the elf ears, is 79 centimeters. The Otohime from Parabox, it states that it's 80 centimeters. It quite possibly might be. Her legs are actually warped from me having her standing, so her legs are a little bent, so she might be actually 80 centimeters if her legs were straight again. But right now, she does appear to be shorter than the Lusion doll, but you can definitely see the biggest difference is like the head size and the way the bodies and stuff are shaped. So I'm going to pause here, and we're going to get to look closer at each of the two sizes. First up, we have the Parabox Otohime, which is on the left. She is 80 centimeters tall. I will go through the rest of her measurements in a second. And then we have the Dollmore Lusion, which is 79 centimeters tall. So first of all, you can obviously see, okay, Otohime, Parabox actually has two versions of this head. They have the anime style head and the more, I shouldn't say realistic, because it still is like, yeah, I guess it would be semi-realistic or realistic head. So this one is the anime style, which is a little bit bigger, but the other style is actually just as big. I think there's only like maybe a couple inch difference in the circumference of the head. The Lusion dolls are all realistic head sculpts. This one is the elf Dahlia, so it has the elf ears. So let's just check out these head sizes. So the Otohime, as I said, is 80 centimeters. She does look shorter in my video. As I mentioned, her legs are a little bit warped from me having her on a stand. So she probably is actually 80 centimeters, even though in the video it does actually look like she is just a tad shorter, a couple of centimeters shorter. So head-wise, her head, the Otohime Parabox, is 43 centimeters circumference head versus the Lusion head, which is, I didn't put the circumference down, but it's 13 to 14 inches is the wig size. So the Otohime, the wig sizes are 15 to 16, the Lusion 13 to 14. So there's a few inch difference there, as you can see with the sizes of the actual heads. The eye sizes obviously are much different as well. The Otohime takes 34 millimeter eyes. That is for the anime version. The other version, I believe, is the same as the 110 centimeters. I didn't check that, unfortunately, but I think it's like 28 or 30 centimeters for the eyes on the realistic head sculpt of that one, which I do not have. Maybe somewhere along the line. Okay, so just to show some differences, you can tell that the Otohime is much slimmer in the, well, altogether she is much slimmer. You can see her hips even are slimmer, and definitely her legs and her feet are much smaller, even though they are about the same height. So the Otohime, the shoulder width, so from across the shoulders, is 13 centimeters. For the Lusion, it is 14 centimeters. So the little bit difference there. Looking at it, it seems like it's more of just a centimeter difference. It looks like it's a couple centimeter difference. So I didn't recheck these. These are the measurements I actually got from the website. I didn't double check them myself, so those may be slightly off, but in general you can tell that the Otohime is kind of like I said, she's twisted because her legs are actually, if you look at her legs, her leg is bowed, and this happened when I had her on a stand. Can't remember how long I had her on a stand, but yeah. Let's see, maybe we should move this a little bit this direction. Maybe that will look better that way. Okay, so moving on, the bust, you can see is 2-part torso and 3-part torso in the Lusion. I should have mentioned this at first. As you can see, she is actually a hinged doll. So she is made out of vinyl, and she's got hinge joints. The Lusions are made out of resin, and they have ball joints, and they're strung. So that is like the biggest difference between the two. So much lighter for the Parabox. The Lusion Dollmores are much heavier. Okay, so let's get going on to the next measurement. So bust-wise, we have a difference between the Otohime has 29.5 centimeter bust, and the Lusion has the 34 centimeters. Waist is 25 centimeters versus 27. Hip is 38 versus 40. And let's see, her arms, like I said, on the Otohime, the difference between the two, there is a joint right here, which actually can swivel. So you could, it's very hard to swivel. The vinyl is very stiff. So with the Otohime, you can get her arms very stiff, but you can get her arms to do different positions, but it's very stiff, but it's just a hinge joint, and then it's a hinge joint here, and then she can, her wrist is a hinge joint as well that goes back and forth. But she does have this mobility joint here, so she can move just that portion of her arm to kind of get her to go into that position. The Lusion doll, like I said, is jointed, ball jointed, and strung. This is the joint that is in the, this is the joint that is in her elbow. It looks like a double joint, but it really isn't, because she might be a little bit hot glue suede, but it doesn't stay into position like the hinge joint does. You could probably wire it. I think people have wired it. She's got a ball in the wrist. Obviously, like I said, this is more realistic, you know, looking than the anime style. So you're going to get a much more prettier aesthetic with the resin doll. But her arm range of motion can go up, but it doesn't want to stay up because it's heavy. I haven't restrung her, so her stringing might be a little loose. And again, hot glue sueding, possibly wiring would be good. Now, the best joint here, this is just a line and it just swivels. So the Otohime just swivels, the joint just swivels. Actually, I don't even know. Yeah, it swivels just a little bit. Probably can get it more, maybe if you heat it up and move it. This one, I don't want to do too much with it. You can get her to lean a little bit, but she is heavy. And obviously that can probably twist to, it's hard on the stand. I don't particularly care for this joint right here because I think it just makes it harder to get her to stand. But that is the way sometimes with the 3-part torso. Okay, let's move on to her legs. Oh, hands. So this hand is actually off. I just wanted to kind of show you that how the hand looks. So if you heat this up, this is just kind of a, so if you heat this up, that's how it's pretty much just like kind of like other vinyl dolls, smart dolls, other Abitsus, Dolphy Dreams. If you heat this up or this part up, it just pops back right onto the wrist joint there. Okay, back to the legs. So for the legs, we have the inseam of the legs, which is just from the crotch here down to the floor. For the Otohime is 36. For the Lusion, it is 37. So her legs are a little bit taller. She's got more length here in the inseam than what the Otohime does. Although, once again, because her legs are kind of bowed, it's not very straight, so that may be why there's just a centimeter of a difference, but it's just a centimeter. Not very big. Again, you'll see that the Lusion has just this ball joint here, and then the leg, and the knee is another ball joint with the calf, and a ball joint, and then the foot. With the Otohime, you don't have a ball joint, but you have one piece here, and you have a swivel joint. So this swivels around. This is hinged, so it just kind of goes up and down. It doesn't like go out or anything like that. It's very hard to hitting my tripod. Sorry about that. So for her, it's hard to like kind of have their legs spread to like, you know, get them to stand. This one, you can kind of spread the legs out just like a normal like ball jointed doll. So you can get her to stand more with her feet apart. But with the Otohime, I have not been able to do that. I haven't worked much with her, but to me, it doesn't feel like that can work very well with her. So let's see, where were we at? Okay, so there is a hinge joint here in her knee, and then a hinge joint in her ankle with her foot. Her tiny, tiny, tiny little feet. If you can like see the difference between these feet, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. So for the feet on the Otohime, dun, 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 dun. The width is, it says 4.7, the length is 11, and then on the Lusion, we have 6 centimeters wide and 13 centimeters in length. At the very beginning of the video, you saw them clothed, and I had shoes on them. So these are the shoes that I had on them. Now, the one thing about toddler shoes is that not all companies, just like clothing, not all companies have the same measurements in shoes. So this pink shoe is actually a 5, and these shoes are a 4. Now, the Otohime probably can maybe wear a size 3. I don't have a size 3, but these are actually much bigger than her feet. You can just get away with it. You can like stuff the toe or stuff the back of the shoe and have her wear it, especially if you're not doing photography in a direction where you would actually see that the shoe is bigger than her foot. These actually fit like almost perfectly on her, on the Lusion doll. Those are a size 5. I have other shoes that are a size 5, and I think I actually have some 4s that fit her. So it really depends on the doll company shoe. I shouldn't say doll company. These are actual kid shoes. It all depends on the company that the shoe comes from. My best suggestion is to take a tape measure with you, and you know, or some people have done this. Some people have actually detached the feet, a foot, and taken it with them to try shoes on. You can do that. Or what another person has done is they drew a piece of cardboard just around the foot that you can slide into the shoe so that you can see whether or not it's going to fit. That's a little bit trickier because the actual foot, like height, might be different in the shoe too. Like it might be thinner. So if you like take a look at these two shoes, you can tell how much thinner this animal print one is. I mean, obviously it is a bigger shoe, but it is kind of thin right here, and it might not be something that the Lusion would fit even if it had, yeah, even if it was in a different size. So for instance, this is Faded Glory is the ones that are the 5s that are for the Lusion. These ones are Koala Kids. I had originally got these for my Lusion. I don't think they fit. I can't remember, but I don't think those fit. But yeah, I need to get a size 3 and check those out. Enough about shoes. So, oh, the ankle measurements. I skipped the ankle measurements and the wrist measurements. So wrist measurement on the Otohime is 8 centimeters, ankle 11.5. For the Lusion, the wrist is 12 and the ankle is 14.5. So like overall, even though they're both, like I said, they're both the same height, about the same height, the measurements are definitely different. The Lusion is a much thicker doll. Now, to note, there is actually a boy Lusion doll. So he has a different body, and I checked the measurements on that. So the measurements for the Lusion boy is, he is 86 centimeters tall. His shoulder width is 14. His waist is 33.5, chest 37, hip 41, wrist 11, ankle 14, and his foot is 5.5 wide and 13 centimeters long. So his foot is about the same size as the girl version, this one. And it says his head is 34.5. He wears the same size wigs as the Trinity and the Lusions, which is 13 to 14 inches. He has a 2-part torso versus the way that this one is styled with 3 parts. So that is it for the 2 80-centimeter dolls. I hope I covered everything. I will be taking pictures and putting them on my Instagram and probably Facebook to, yeah, document the different measurements. And next up is going to be the 2 bigger girls at 110 and 105 centimeters. Next up, we have the 2 bigger dolls. We have the Parabox 110 centimeter life-size doll and the Dollmore Trinity, which is 105 centimeters. So we're going to do the same thing with these 2 as I did with the Otohime and Lusion. I'm going to go over different aspects of the dolls. It's obvious just looking that the Otohime, what they say is life size, is definitely much bigger and thicker and taller than the Trinity doll. She does have a much bigger head, so that is obvious. I haven't had a chance to get a face-up yet on my life-size girl Parabox. And as I say life-size, there are dolls out there that have the same measurements as children, as toddlers. Those are completely different style dolls. There are some that were vinyl that had some types of joints, some of your reborn dolls and stuff like that, that are larger toddler sized dolls. Those are usually the size of a child. And I mean measurement wise as in body shape and everything. These 2 dolls and the Lusion and the Otohime are the height of children and toddlers. However, they are still very, very doll-like, so their measurements are much thinner. I'm going to go over a couple of the clothing pieces that I had on these dolls, just so you can get an idea of what I mean. First, let's just go over all of the different things here. So again, we're going to go with the heads. So the Parabox, as I said, is 110 centimeters. And the Trinity doll is 105 centimeters. The wig sizes for these gals is the Parabox doll is, I think I might have said Otohime just a second ago. They don't call him Parabox. They don't call him Otohime. Otohime is the 79 centimeter one. The head, the wig sizes is 17 to 18 inch wig size for the Parabox, and for the Trinity doll, it's 13 to 14 inches. So obviously you can tell that the Parabox has a much bigger noggin there. She is very anime styled. Some of her features are, like her hands, are definitely, I think, more stylized than the Otohime from the life-size one. So there is a big difference there. I size, the Parabox takes 34 millimeter eyes. The realistic version of the head is either 28 or 30 millimeters, depending on the style of eye you like. And for the Lusion, for the Dollmore Trinity, the eye sizes are 26 or 28 millimeter. It actually depends on how you like your eyes to be styled, and also the sculpt, because some of the sculpts have bigger eye sockets than the other ones do. Okay, let's get on to some of these other measurements here. So looking at the shoulders, the shoulder width on the Parabox girl is 27 centimeters. The shoulders on the Trinity is 14. You can definitely tell that the Otohime is wider in the shoulders. Well, she's going to be wider everywhere. The chest is 43 centimeters. The Trinity chest is 42.5. Moving on to the waist. The Parabox waist is 33 centimeters. The Dollmore is 31.5 centimeters. The hip is 52 centimeters versus 46 centimeters on the Dollmore. Just real quick, as you can see, this is kind of the opposite of the Otohime and the Lusion doll. In this case, the Parabox doll has 3-part torso, and the Dollmore doll is a 2-part torso. Kind of the opposite. I'm not really certain why the Parabox has a 3-part torso. It is very hard to twist those two pieces. Maybe if they're warmed up a little bit, it would be easier to twist those, but it's very, very hard, at least for me, to twist them. So yeah, moving on to the arms, as you can see, the Parabox arms has the same mobility joint at the very top. It is hinged. It is also vinyl, so I think I mentioned that at the very beginning, but just to loop back around, the Parabox is a hard vinyl, and the Dollmores are resin. The Parabox is still quite heavy with being the hard vinyl, just because of the size, but definitely not as heavy and hard to maneuver around as the Dollmore. So the arms have the same joining, the hinge joints, and the hinge joints in the wrist, the exact same. Movement-wise, the exact same as the Otohime. The Dollmore pretty much is the same as well. You have the wrist joints here. I want to say, no, I don't think she's the one that I sueded. She might not be sueded, but she has the same arm movement as well. If you put wires or hot glue sueding, you might be able to get a little bit of posability out of there. So let's go with the arm length, which I did not put on here yet, or I didn't talk about yet. So for the Parabox, it's 33 centimeters. That's from the shoulder to the wrist. And for the Dollmore, it's 30.5. The hands, you can see, are definitely much bigger on the Parabox than the Dollmore. The definition and everything on the Dollmore is definitely just much, much more detailed than the Parabox. But those are bigger hands. You can see that this has the same joint here. The difference in the legs between the Otohime and the life size is that on this one, there is a mobility joint down here at the bottom instead of at the top. I'm not sure why they did that differently on the life size 110 centimeters, but you also have a second one down here. So that's very odd. I mean, it gets, you can move the legs a little bit differently, but it's just, to me, it was very odd that they actually had those joints that way. And speaking of the legs, let's go ahead and, oh, So as you notice on the Dollmore, there is no double joint here. This is actually single jointed. So their legs are actually single jointed. And there is no ball joint in there like the Lusion doll. I believe the boy Lusion doll is the same way. I think he just has the single joint like this. Which with as heavy as it is, it really doesn't make much of a difference because you're not going to get that heavy of a doll to kneel very well. Could probably do it, but not very well. All right, so for the inseam, we have 54 centimeters on the Parabox, and on the Dollmore, we have 50. And again, that is from the crotch here down to the floor. Back to the wrist for a second. So the wrist measurement on the Parabox is 12 centimeters, and the wrist on the Dollmore is 11. So you can kind of tell that they're very similar, just slightly off. Actually, this looks slimmer to me than this does, but I'd have to double check the measurements. Like I said, these all came from the website. Yeah, so might not be 100% correct and accurate. Let's move down to the feet. So the Dollmore has the ball joint in the foot and then hinge joint in the Parabox. So for the feet, we have 6 centimeter width on the Parabox and 16 centimeter on the length. On the website, it does say that the shoe size is 17 centimeter. But again, like I was talking about on the other two dolls, the 80 centimeter dolls, it really depends on the shoe company. So for the Dollmore, we have a foot of 5.5 centimeter wide, and the length is 12.5 centimeters. Ankle is 14 centimeters around for the Parabox, and 13 centimeters around for the Dollmore, which you can definitely see the difference there. Okay, I'm gonna pause real quick and grab a couple of shoes. For the shoes that we have here, these ones right here, which were on the Lusion doll, are size 5. They actually do fit the Dollmore Trinity as well. The Lusion doll has a bit thicker of a foot, so these fit really nicely, but I also had her wearing socks. But yeah, this foot size is a little bit different, but they usually can wear about the same size as shoe. These boots that I had on my Dollmore are, let's see, it says size 4. However, as you see, this is what I'm talking about. Different companies, different sizes. These look, the purple boots definitely look bigger than the shoes, but these say size 5 and these say size 4. I don't know whether or not, I don't think these purple shoes will fit the Parabox because her feet are longer. You can definitely tell that by looking here. She definitely has longer feet. So those are those purple boots. These shoes, which are really amazing. I have these in, I think I have ones with stars or something on them. I can't remember. I know I have another pair. These are saying that they are a size, should have looked at this before. I am not finding a size on here. So we'll just do this. I believe I went with a size 5. They might have said a size 6. I don't know, but you can tell that there is definitely a little bit of a length difference, and these fit nicely. I mean, they look kind of big just because I think they're like wider than her foot, but they still work really well. These can even work well fine with the Dollmore doll. It's just that it's going to look like she has a bigger foot, which, I mean, some people have small feet, some have bigger feet. Let's move these shoes back out of the way. This is something that I was going to point on real quick because on the Otohime and the Lusion doll, you can see that the Parabox here, she has a nice spread of her legs here. She can spread her legs wider than the other one. I think, I'm not exactly sure why that is. I don't know if it's like the hip part here that is different to where that they can like pull the legs out a little bit more so she's more stable standing like this. But the Trinity doll can stand pretty well. I have gotten her to stand off of a stand, but it's very precarious. You probably don't want to do that. So there we have the two big girls. I'm going to follow up with a little summary here at the end. I might put some clothes back on them, but it might take me a while. Usually it takes much less time to take clothes off of a doll than it does to put them on. I'm not really going to do much with posing. I will be putting photos up with the measurements along with the doll, as I mentioned with the other two dolls, the Otohime and the Lusion. And along with that, I'll like try and take some photos as far as like them sitting and stuff like that. Maybe I'll add it at the end of the video. So hang on for the conclusion. Real quick before we move on, I did notice that I forgot to mention a few things regarding the Parabox dolls versus other BJDs and such, and that is going to be the head caps. So for the Parabox, and this is just for the one that I have, I'm pretty sure the other ones are like this as well. The other head sculpt is the same as well, but I'm not completely sure. Let's spin her around. So this is her head cap. It's just kind of like your normal cap. It just doesn't come off. You actually have to. There's kind of a little bit of a indentation here where you can pull out, but you have to heat this up to get this off. So this is pretty much kind of like your Dolphy Dream, Smart Doll, Ibitsu, I mean, like your BJDs. It's usually just like, you know, it has a head cap that fits on. But it is not magnetic. For the Dollmore dolls, they are magnetic. They're the same style as a BJD. They just unhook with magnets and pop back on. So that is the Otohime, the way her head is. And for the 110 centimeter, theirs is actually different. Try to get in here closer. So for these, it is like a faceplate. So this actually has tape, and it just comes off like this. This is nicer because it's easier to fit clothing over this tiny little part. Well, I shouldn't say tiny, it's pretty huge, but it's easy to get like clothing pulled over this versus having to try and pull it over the whole entire head. I mean, you can for the Otohime, I mean, you can take her head off, but that, again, will entail having to get a hair dryer, and it's pretty much looks like this on the inside. So this is actually, this lip thing and this ball joint is actually all together, and there's a slit just like you would see in a regular ball jointed doll. But yeah, this whole entire thing would have to fit through there to get the whole entire head off, and that's the way the Otohime is. Now with this, it actually has, there's a magnet like right there. So this does actually go on like a magnet. However, if you're moving the heads around, I mean, it's so easy just to pull this off. So that's why they came with these pieces of tape, which actually have a little bit of a Velcro, like a thin Velcro edge to it. So that is why those are on the side, is just to keep that on, because you can easily pop that off just trying to move the head around. So when you're moving the head around, you want to try and move it's just hard, because it's like sometimes if it's a face up, you don't want to like pull, you know, the head here, because then you're getting fingerprints on here, or wear gloves. But so that is the head. So I wanted to show you that real quick before we move on to the conclusion of the video. That concludes the video for the comparison of the Parabox and the Dollmore dolls in the 105 to 110 scale and the 80 centimeter scale. Yeah, week 2. Yay! So I'm not sure what the next week is going to bring. But just to go over a few things, I did actually redress them, as you can see from the beginning of the video. The shoes that the two Dollmore dolls are wearing are a size 5, and the one that the life-size Parabox doll, which are tall high tops, they are probably a size, I want to say 6. I'm not sure. There was no tag in it to indicate the sizing. And then the shoes that the Otohime is wearing, I believe they might actually also be a 5. I totally forgot to check before I turned the video back on. But the top that she is wearing is a 3-month size, and the skirt is something that I altered, so that is altered from a toddler skirt. These two are also altered from a toddler skirt. I stitched in the sides because, like I said earlier in the video, they are still very doll-like, so they're still very thin. They're not the bulk of an actual child. The top that she is wearing, this lovely black, like blousey kind of thing, is actually a newborn size. So the same way with the shoes in children's sizes or toddler sizes and newborn sizes or baby sizes, depending on the company, the sizes can be like very, very drastic. Like I know that Gerber's baby clothes, they run smaller than some of the other like clothing does. So I want to say this top, I want to say these two tops that she's wearing, I might have got at Target. But this one, I believe, is also a 3-month. It is big on her, but it still works. Like I said, she's taller than a 3-month-old. So, again, proportions are not like an actual child. Height, yes. Proportions, no. Her skirt is a toddler skirt. I want to say it might have been like a 2, but it is cinched in the back, so you can't tell. I didn't like alter it, but I did cinch it in so that it can be smaller. The top she is wearing is a onesie, a baby onesie that I believe is like, I want to say maybe 12-month. Again, it didn't have a tag in it either, so I'm not 100% sure. But I did change their wigs and their clothing. This hat, I actually made this. I made it from, I want to say I made this from a 18-inch, like American Girl type dolls, 18-inch dolls pattern, but I think I enlarged it a little bit, but I used that for a reborn doll that I made an outfit for, and that's where that hood came from. But I thought it looked really cute on her, so I went ahead and stuck it on her for now. But that is it. Oh, I wanted to grab a couple of different size BJDs just so you can kind of get an idea of how big these dolls, I mean, you can tell just from, I'm 5'4", they're on a table, so you can tell that they're pretty huge. But I will get a few dolls and we'll end the video by showing you some comparisons of that. We are back with a few dolls. So I have one of my smart dolls here, which is about 60 centimeters. So you can see that this is her waist up here. So yep, smush her hair down. She's like right at like hip level of this doll. This is an MSD, or this is actually an MDD, Dolphy Dream, mini Dolphy Dream, Moshi body. But yeah, she's about 43 centimeters, 42 centimeters. Whoop! And then lastly, we have this tiny little girl, which is 27 centimeters. So now you can really tell how big these dolls really are. So thank you so much for watching. As usual, make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you can see upcoming content, get notifications for that, like the video, and feel free to put any comments below. This was a very long video, so hopefully you stuck through it to see it to the end. But thank you again. Take care and stay safe. Bye-bye.